Hey guys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of the Games Tester. My name is Maurice. Today we're getting a look at Outlaws Remastered on the Xbox Series S. Let's get into it. First of all, let's see how much data this game is, and that's 7.7 GB. The game is not on Game Pass, at least not now that I'm recording. There's always a possibility that it will come to Game Pass, but not right now. The game is $29.99, pretty standard for a night dive. I'm gonna call it a night dive remaster. It's like they do most of these kind of games. So let's just check it out. The game is, by the way, fully optimized for the current gen consoles. Xbox Gen 9, Gen Scarlet. Let's go start it up. You guys, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot for me, you're really helping out the channel. You can also hit the bell icon. I upload almost on a daily basis new games, old games, updates on games. Sometimes even a little bit of hardware here and there. Big shout out, by the way, to the people at Atari Night Dive Studios for sending me a key to this game so I could try it out for you guys on this channel. So, the Gex engine. A lot of these remasters are all made in the Gex engine. So they have like a specialized engine that is from Night Dive Studios themselves, where they can make like late 1990s, early 2000s 3D games. They can optimize them to oblivion on these newer systems. And that's what they've done with this one. I actually owned this game back in 1997. I loved it. It was pre-Red Dead Redemption, pre-anything, Cowboys. There were not, maybe Sunset Riders or something on the Super Nintendo. But there were not many cowboy games. This was like the cowboy game. This was my Red Dead Redemption back in the day. Outlaws was perfect. And especially, it was made by connection with Disney and Lucasfilm. And they had like these full-blown animations. And look at this. This is gorgeous.
She got a voice on her, almost as pretty as yours, Anna.
Shall I write a list for you?
Nope. Got it in my head, Anna.
You better.
So incredibly good for its time.
1 pound of sugar, fruit if they got any.
Full-blown animation, and it's incredible. So the story is that your wife gets killed, your daughter gets kidnapped, and you need to get your hands on the bad guys who did this. And it's such an amazing shooter. I actually love it. Back in the day, I was completely blown away by how good this looked. And right now I'm like, wait, what? Is this how it looked back in the day? Yeah, this is definitely how it looked back in the day. Back then I had like a PC that was I still remember what kind of PC I was playing this on. So this was a Intel Celeron MMX with a 3D FX Voodoo 1 card. That's what I used to play this game. And I think it had like 9.6 GB of hard drive in it. And I know for a fact that back then that was a monster PC when my dad got it. I was like 15, 16, somewhere in that range. I was the man with that PC. It was a monster. And this was one of those games I actually got, I think, pretty much day one or something, or maybe a little bit later. Like we still had different kinds of currency back then. We still had the gulden or the Dutch florijn, but yeah, I think it was like 100 gulden or something back then to get this game. And I loved it. And I still love it. It's so good. So incredibly good. But how does it run? How did they remaster this game? Well, they remastered it insanely well. The game actually runs. This is one of those games that actually runs at 4K native. Yes, you heard that correctly. 4K native at 120 FPS on your Series S. How cool is that? Because some of these games, and especially the Night Dive Studio games, they have mastered the Xbox Series S. Especially with these remasters, they run so incredibly well. And these are older games, it's that they are not using that much calculating power anymore. So, yeah, they can run these games like insanely well. They did the same with games like Shadowrun, and they did the same with the Turok games, Quake, Doom. A lot of these games are all, remastered by Night Dive Studios, and they know what they're doing. This was such a big deal back then when it came out. A lot of people don't even realize that. Nowadays, I'm actually shocked that still people know about this game. It was like a big box PC game. I can still remember those. I can. The feeling when going to we had this store here in the Netherlands called Free Record Shop that sold most of these kind of games back in the day. And yeah, to get your hands on one of these big boxes, that was always like a big thing. I also had like a N64, but some of these games weren't on the N64. I needed to get them on PC. And this was one of those games I couldn't get on the N64. I think, yeah, around that time I was rocking the N64. The N64 and my PC. Come on. Dial. What the... That was a little bit strange. Here we go. I'm still impressed by how well they can optimize these games. You know, back then we needed like a super ultra mega expensive PC to run these games, and nowadays it's like, eh. You can run these games literally on your cell phone if you want to. My goodness, that's a lot of guys in this area. Wow. Was that guy using bullet time or something? Here we go. This is so cool to play again. You know, back then these games they didn't take your hand and like, oh, you need to go now this way, now this way, now this. No. Try and find it out for yourself. If you can, you're a dumbass. Here we go. These animations, they are so good. For its time?
Please, don't shoot no more. They took her north. Said something
The
about
character designs.
Wellington, then heading on to Cortez. Said you'd never find them there. Just don't shoot me. How do I know you're telling the truth? 'Cause I don't want to die. Damn it. I told that fool doctor stealing your kid weren't gonna be good for anyone's health. It's a shame he didn't listen.
It's a shame he didn't listen. Ah, badass. Really, really badass. Sanctuary. You know, back in those days you barely had any cutscenes in video games. So to have something like this was pretty unique. Thank you for watching, hope you had fun. Hope to see you guys soon in another one. Bye.